Okay, so which child will stop putting her claws in the hamper quickly? Hello everyone and assalamu alaikum. This is Introduction to Psychology Part 2 by Your Knowledge, and this is chapter 3, which is all about learning, and we have covered lots of topics in chapter of learning. The last lectures we have covered some of the concepts of the reinforcement, in which we have covered about primary and secondary reinforcement. We have also learned about positive and negative reinforcement, and this video is going to be about the schedules of reinforcement. So this is going to be the lesson 2 part 2, which is about operant conditioning, and this is the part 2I, which is about the schedules of reinforcement, which include the partial reinforcement and continuous reinforcement. This video is all about the partial reinforcement and the continuous reinforcement. So the timing of reinforcement can make a tremendous difference in the speed at which learning occurs and the strength of a learning response. So Skinner in 1956 found that reinforcing each and every response was not necessarily the best schedule for reinforcement for long-lasting learning. But what are the schedules of reinforcement? And we will learn about all the schedules of reinforcement in this series of the schedules of reinforcement. So start with a partial reinforcement effect. I'm going to start with a short scenario in order to make it easy for you to understand. So Alicia's mother gives her $1 every night she remembers to put her dirty clothes in the clothes hamper. And Sarah's mother gave her $1 at the end of the week, but only if she has to put her clothes in the hamper every night. Now, after a time, the mothers stop giving the girl the money. So, which child will stop putting the clothes in the hamper more quickly? Now, the answer might be surprising, but it will more likely be Alicia, who has expected to get a reinforcer $1 after every single response. So as soon as the response or as soon as the reinforcer stop, the behavior extinguishes. Now, whereas Sarah has expected to get a reinforcer only after some correct responses, and when the reinforcers stop, Sarah might continue to put the clothes in the hamper for several more days or even another whole week, hoping that the reinforcer will eventually come anyway. Now, here Sarah's behavior illustrates the partial reinforcement effect. Partial reinforcement effect is the tendency for response that is reinforced after some, but not all, correct responses to be very resistant to extinct. So, partial reinforcement effect is a response that is reinforced after some, but not all correct responses will be uh, not all correct response will be responses to be very correct responses to be very resistant to extinction than a response that receives. Whereas continuous reinforcement uh, is the reinforcement of each and every correct response. The partial reinforcement effect is a psychological phenomena where behavior is more resistant to extinction when it is followed by a reward only occasionally rather than always. Now, in other words, when a behavior is reinforced intermittently, it tends to persist longer than when it is reinforced consistently. And this effect is often observed in operant conditioning experiments where a subject may continue to perform a behavior even after the reward is no longer present. And simply because they have learned to associate the behavior with an occasional reward, the partial reinforcement effect has an important implication for learning and motivation, as it suggests that intermittent reward can be more powerful than consistent reward in shaping behavior. Now, let me share some examples which will help you understand the topic more quickly. Here's a classic example. Now, imagine a child who wants a candy from a vending machine. Now, sometime when they put in a coin and turn the handle, a candy comes out as a reward. But the other times, nothing comes out, which is no reward. Now, even though the child doesn't get a candy every time, they will likely continue to put the coins in the machine and turn the handle, hoping to get a candy. Now, this behavior persists because of the partial reinforcement effect, which is the occasional reward has creating a strong association with the behavior, which is putting in a candy, putting in a coin and turning the handle. Now, this example illustrates how intermittent reinforcement can lead to persistent behavior, even in the face of uncertainty or lack of immediate response or immediate reward. But what if the child receives candy every time and then it stops forever? If the child receives a candy every time they put in a coin and turn the handle, and then suddenly the machine stops uh, dispensing candy altogether, they will likely stop using the machine very quickly. And this is because putting in a coin and turning the handle is no longer followed by a reward, and the child has learned to associate the behavior with a consistent reward. Now, in this case, the child's behavior is said to be extinguished, meaning it disappeared because it is no longer reinforced. And this is an example of the extinction effect, which is the opposite of the partial reinforcement effect. Now, the extinction effect shows how behavior can be sensitive to changes in the reinforcement and how consistent reinforcement can create a fragile association between behavior and reward. Now, here is an example of the partial reinforcement effect in a workspace setting. Now, suppose an employee, Jack, occasionally receives a bonus or recognition, which is a reward, for meeting his sales target, but not always. Sometimes he meets his target and receives no bonus or recognition, but other time he does. Now, in this case, Jack will likely continue to work hard to meet his sales target, even if he doesn't receive a bonus or recognition every time. The occasional reward has created a strong association with the behavior meeting the sales target, making him more persistent in his efforts. Now, this is an example of the partial reinforcement effect where intermittent reinforcement, the occasional bonus or recognition, sustains the behavior which is meeting sales target even in the absence of a consistent reward. On the other hand, there is an example related to the workspace. Suppose an employee, John, consistently submits high quality reports to his manager, and every time he receives praise and recognition, which is reward. However, one day the manager stops providing feedback or recognition, even though John continues to submit excellent reports. Now, in this case, John's behavior, which is submitting high quality reports, will likely extinguish over time as the reinforcement, which is the praise and recognition, is no longer present. Now, John may start to feel that his efforts are not valued or appreciated, leading to a decrease in motivation and potentially even a decrease in the quality of his work. Now, this example illustrates how the extinction effect uh, can occur in a workspace setting, whereas a behavior which is a high submitting high quality reports is no longer reinforced with recognition or reward, leading to a decline in the behavior. Now, the other way in which rules of reinforcement can differ is in whether the number of responses or intervals of the time is fixed. which is the same in each case, or variable, which is different, or interval is required in each case. Different number or interval is required in each case. So it is possible to have a fixed ratio schedule or variable ratio schedule, a fixed interval schedule, and variable interval schedule, which we will be learning in the upcoming lectures. So this was all about today's video. If your concept is clear, you can like the video. If there was any point that was confusing, you did not get it, you can ask me in the comment section and we will be helping you out. Plus, if you're new to this channel, you can also subscribe to our channel, click on the bell icon so you will never ever miss any notification. You can also share the link of this video, the link of our YouTube channel, with your family members and friends, because sharing is caring. Until then, Allah Hafiz.